Hi, welcome to the virtual community meeting for the Orinda Water Treatment Plant Disinfection Improvements Project. My name is Chen Wang, and I'm an engineer with the Water Distribution Planning Division. This is a recorded version of the presentation given at the May 13th, 2020 community meeting. This meeting is in response to several community concerns raised about potential air quality and traffic issues during construction of the project. I'd like to now introduce the project team. Myself, Chen, the CEQA project manager, Jenny McGregor, senior engineer in the Water Distribution Planning Division, and David Renstrom, manager of the Planning Division. Catherine Horn with Community Affairs, and Jeff Bandy, design project manager. Consultants who have been assisting us with preparation of the environmental documentation include David Davis, project manager with Environmental Science Associates, or ESA, and Jyoti Iyer, air quality specialist, also with ESA, and Ryan McLean, transportation engineer and principal with Fair & Pierce. Since this is a virtual meeting, we've included photos of the speakers. This slide shows Catherine Horn and myself. We also have technical specialists joining us at the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Jyoti Iyer with ESA is the primary author of the air quality section of the environmental document. She is an environmental engineer with over 16 years of experience, and her expertise includes preparation of emission inventories, dispersion modeling, health risk assessments, and energy analysis. We also have Ryan McLean, who has worked in the transportation planning and engineering field since 2001, and he focuses on multimodal transportation design and analysis and provides alternatives development, assessment, and engineering design for transportation projects of all sizes. Tonight I will briefly go over the CEQA process and the project description. Then I will review the air quality and transportation analyses to date, moving on to next steps. Again, the Q&A session will be at the end of the presentation. The components of this project were first described in the Water Treatment and Transmission Improvements Program, WTTIP, Environmental Impact Report, or EIR, which was certified in 2006. For this project, East Bay Mud will prepare a supplemental EIR to the WTTIP EIR due to changes in the project since the WTTIP EIR was certified. The WTTIP EIR evaluated over 20 projects in the Loma Orinda area, of which this Orinda Water Treatment Plant project was one. Next, I will discuss what an EIR is and its purpose. An EIR is an environmental impact report required by the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. The purpose of an EIR is to inform the public of the environmental consequences of a project. An EIR is required when there is potential that a project may have significant impacts. The project supplemental EIR will analyze resource areas including aesthetics, air quality, noise, and transportation as examples. Here is the timeline of the CEQA public process so far. We held 2 community meetings in 2019. Tonight is community meeting number 3 to review the preliminary air quality and transportation analyses. Coming up next is the release of the draft supplemental EIR in July, with a public meeting in August to discuss the findings of the supplemental EIR and receive public comments. We anticipate publishing the final supplemental EIR in November, with East Bay Mud board consideration in December. Parallel to this process, we have quarterly coordination meetings with the City of Orinda to discuss all East Bay Mud projects occurring in Orinda. We are planning to present to the Orinda City Council on June 16th to provide an overview and update on all current projects. The Orinda Water Treatment Plant has been in service since 1935, even before the Caldecott Tunnel was constructed in 1937. The bigger aerial photo shows the future Camino Pablo roadway running diagonally across the photo, with the filter gallery building in the center in 1939, before much of the city was developed. Here is a recent picture of the Orinda Water Treatment Plant. Camino Pablo is on the right, and Manzanita Drive is just out of view in the foreground. The Orinda water treatment plant has a capacity of approximately 190 million gallons per day and supplies water to both sides of the Oakland-Berkeley Hills. This plant operates continuously, 24/7, year-round. During the summer months, much of the water treated at the Orinda water treatment plant is sent to customers west of the Oakland-Berkeley Hills via the Claremont Tunnel. However, during the winter months, the Orinda water treatment plant serves all of the La Miranda area customers via Los Altos Pumping Plant Number 2. The yellow shows the area served by the Orinda water treatment plant during the winters. The purpose of the project is to improve disinfection reliability, to continue to meet water quality regulations, to better protect public health by adding a multi-barrier treatment process, in this case, ultraviolet or UV and chlorine disinfection, and to reduce the formation of disinfection byproducts such as trihalomethanes. The project will make the Orinda water treatment plant more adaptive to changes in source water quality, which we anticipate will continue due to warming climates, fires in the watershed, and future droughts. The Orinda water treatment plant is essential to our public health mission to ensure our drinking water is clean, safe, and reliable. Here is a site plan that shows the project components. Camino Pablo runs diagonally across the aerial photo and Manzanita Drive near the top left. The existing maintenance building shown in red will be demolished and its uses incorporated into a new 2-story maintenance and UV electrical building, which we call the MAUVE building, and a new grounds maintenance building closer to Manzanita Drive with associated parking. The 3 underground components are called out in darker orange and are the ultraviolet disinfection or UV structure, the chlorine contact basin, the CCB, and the effluent weir structure, which will convey the treated drinking water to the Claremont Tunnel for west of Hill customers and to Los Altos Pumping Plant Number 2 for east of Hill customers. There will also be several other outbuildings constructed as part of the project. The existing Los Altos Pumping Plant Number 1, which is not in use, will be demolished to make room for a new power building for Los Altos Pumping Plant Number 2. A south electrical building will be constructed to power the new facility. Also, a new diesel generator, including 2 fuel tanks, will be installed near the south end of the water treatment plant to back up facilities on the site during a power outage. Here you see a photo of the filter gallery building with the lime tower in the rear. The exterior of the MAUVE building will be designed to match the existing water treatment plant buildings and will be painted yellow with a red tile roof. The elevation drawing on the bottom shows the doors and windows of the west side of the MAUVE building. All other project buildings will also match existing facilities, but will be prefabricated buildings. These will include the grounds maintenance building, 2 electrical buildings, and the generator building. The main staging area for construction will be within the Orinda water treatment plant, near Manzanita Drive and Camino Pablo. The East Bay Mud San Pablo Reservoir overflow parking lots will be used for worker parking and equipment and material storage. The area east of the Manzanita Drive Bridge will be used for worker parking and office trailers. Also, East Bay Mud maintenance staff will be temporarily relocated to the area south of the East Bay Mud-owned North Orinda sports fields and existing parking during construction. Fencing has been installed around this area to secure the area for East Bay Mud use. At the top of the slide, you can see a construction timeline for the project. Project construction will take approximately 4.5 years. Work activities will overlap with sometimes components in different parts of the water treatment plant being constructed at the same time. But also, heavy periods of construction will be interspersed with periods of less or little activity. The major phases of construction include site mobilization and demolition starting in the summer of 2021, excavation and concrete work for the UV CCB structure occurring from 2022 through 2023, and the construction of the MAUVE building starting in 2024. Fencing and landscaping to be installed at the end of the project in the spring and summer of 2025. Community concerns that we heard about air quality included health effects of airborne pollutants during construction activities, specifically diesel particulates from construction equipment on sensitive receptors such as children. Project construction will last approximately 4.5 years, and during that time, construction activities will typically result in emissions of particulate matter in the form of dust and exhaust emissions from vehicle tailpipes. The Bay Area Air Quality Management District, also known as BACMID for short, is the regional agency responsible for developing air quality plans for the Bay Area that are required under the Federal Clean Air Act and the California Clean Air Act. BACMID has adopted the 2017 Clean Air Plan, which includes a wide range of control measures proposed to reduce combustion-related activities, decrease fossil fuel combustion, improve energy efficiency, and decrease emissions of potent greenhouse gases. BACMID also recommends air quality significance thresholds for CEQA for the region. For the air quality analysis, East Bay MUD used the approach identified in the BACMID guidelines. Construction emissions of concern, including criteria air pollutants, ozone precursors, and particulate matter, were quantified using Cal-EE-MOD, a statewide emissions inventory model, and results were compared to the BACMID recommended thresholds. Also, a health risk assessment was performed to evaluate the risks from exposure to diesel particulate matter, DPM, which represents the primary health risk, to sensitive residential receptors, including infants, children, and adults. The health risk assessment considers sensitive receptors within 1,000 feet of the construction areas as recommended by BACMID and evaluates chronic cancer and non-cancer risks to sensitive receptors. Preliminary results of the air quality analysis show that for criteria pollutants, construction emissions of particulate matter and ozone precursors do not exceed BACMID thresholds. However, without mitigation, health risks from exposure to construction DPM emissions do exceed BACMID's health risk thresholds. On the next slide, we will talk about mitigating this risk. We have already incorporated into the project several WTTIP mitigation measures, including BACMID basic and enhanced control measures, including street sweeping and limiting diesel engine idling times for construction vehicles. We are also adding any BACMID recommended measures that have not already been adopted, including watering exposed surfaces daily. We will also require that all construction diesel engines conform to the most stringent U.S. EPA requirements. These require the best available control technology for control of DPM emissions and can reduce emissions by up to 90%. This measure will be compliant with BACMID thresholds. With these mitigations, the potential for health risks from exposures to DPMs is less than significant. From past community meetings, we have heard concerns about school commute safety, including school children and families that walk, bike, and take the bus to school. We also had several comments about safety at the ball field's driveway. East Bay MUD is cost-sharing with the City of Orinda for the new traffic signal camera at the intersection at the ball fields that was installed in early February. Vehicles exiting the parking area no longer need to drive so far up the hill in order to trigger the traffic light. To proceed with the traffic analysis, we needed to determine project work hours and estimate the vehicle trips generated by the project. For the project, we are limiting off-haul and heavy equipment trucks to Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. This allows this construction traffic to avoid the morning and afternoon peak commute times. However, concrete deliveries will be allowed Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to allow 12-hour continuous concrete pours. This is because disruptions in concrete pours can affect the quality of the concrete work and service life of the structure. It is estimated that the heaviest construction traffic would occur during years 2022 and 2023 for the excavation and concrete pours for the UV structure and CCB. The total excavation and concrete pour durations include periods of time where there is no significant construction activity at the site. For example, when concrete is curing, or we're doing startup facilities testing. It also includes winter time periods when the Orinda water treatment plant will be taken offline to connect the project components to the existing treatment infrastructure. Project trip generation estimates included a maximum of 10 truck round trips per hour and a maximum of 40 worker vehicle round trips per day. This is because we assume that all 40 workers would enter the site during the morning commute and would leave the site during the afternoon commute. Please keep in mind that these are the maximum trip generation estimates. For any activity, it could range from very little truck traffic to the maximum at any given time. But we use these maximum numbers to be conservative for our analysis. We performed an intersection analysis where we studied 12 key project intersections, including all the intersections on Camino Pablo from Highway 24 north to Bear Creek Road. Traffic counts were taken at each intersection on a weekday when school was in session before the shelter in place. The intersection analysis, also known as a level of service or LOS analysis, compared existing vehicle delay times in seconds to project vehicle delay times. The peak periods studied were the morning peak period from 7 to 9 a.m., the midday peak period from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and the afternoon peak period from 4 to 6 p.m. Vehicle delays were analyzed for the 60-minute period when the highest traffic volume was recorded at each intersection during all peak periods. In the end, no study intersection had a substantial increase in delay due to the project. This was mostly due to the limitation of truck traffic to outside the morning and afternoon commute periods, and the fact that the project contributions to traffic relative to existing traffic volume on Camino Pablo during peak periods is low. We also took a look at average daily traffic numbers along 5 roadway segments, including Bear Creek Road east of Camino Pablo, Manzanita Drive east of Camino Pablo, and Camino Pablo south of Bear Creek Road, south of Manzanita Drive, and south of Santa Maria Way to Highway 24. Average daily traffic is the average daily traffic in both directions counted in each roadway segment. Our roadway average daily traffic, or ADT, results show that 4 roadway segments are showing less than 1% increase in ADT with the project. Again, this is because the project traffic addition is small compared to existing traffic already on Camino Pablo. One roadway segment, Manzanita Drive east of Camino Pablo, is showing an 18% increase maximum in ADT due to increased active construction traffic. This is because daily, all the worker vehicles enter and exit the site at Manzanita Drive to enter the north gate of the Orinda water treatment plant off of Manzanita Drive. This is not daily for the entire construction duration, but a worst-case scenario at the Manzanita Drive intersection, and only for the approximately 300 feet between Camino Pablo and the north gate entrance to the Orinda water treatment plant. The traffic counts also included pedestrians and bicyclists at all the study intersections. As expected, school children were the majority of pedestrians and bicyclists between Claremont Avenue and Wagner Ranch Elementary School on Camino Pablo. We also reviewed all school bus routes in the project vicinity, and only one route has a stop along the project construction route, the La Orinda school bus route that serves Orinda Intermediate School, OIS Route 11, does pick up and drop off students on the north side of Manzanita Drive across the street from the north gate of the Orinda water treatment plant site. Much of the potential traffic impacts during peak traffic periods has been minimized by restricting the hours for heavy truck traffic outside of peak commute hours. However, we do have several traffic measures incorporated into the project, including a requirement that a traffic safety and management plan be prepared that would minimize traffic disturbances adjacent to school and provide flaggers and crossing guards when children are going to and from school to ensure pedestrian and traffic safety. So, crossing guards are proposed at Manzanita Drive Camino Pablo intersection and the Orinda water treatment plant Manzanita Drive entrance due to increased active construction traffic predicted on Manzanita Drive roadway segment. This should increase the safety of pedestrians and bicyclists at Manzanita Drive, where traffic is expected to increase due to the project. Next steps include the release of the draft supplemental EIR in July for a 45-day public review period, and at the draft supplemental EIR public meeting this summer in August, you will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide comments on the draft supplemental EIR. The final supplemental EIR is planned to be released in November, with East Bay Mud board consideration in December. Thank you very much for listening to this recorded presentation.